Complex on the screen, healthcare in between. Physics, art, and math guide us down this path. Historical tales come alive, where science and stories dive. Blended facts with heart, knowledge from the start. Meet rich blues we sing, to the future memory. Health and science in the mix, Meet got the fix. Complex subjects made
right
clear,
now
every episode
in ways that we actually acquire
leads the way,
and ways that make me more efficient.
in the world of digital streams, turning knowledge into dreams. Through the tales of old, new stories unfold.
Thank you so much for joining with me. It is truly an honor and a privilege.
MedBix Webcast is a new kind of healthcare media channel to break the silo mentality and foster interdisciplinary thinking. Our mission is to fill that gap and to create a curiosity through different lenses, tapping the passion that guided the historical figures in medicine and bringing present-day groundbreaking research to the front lines. We interview physicians and leaders in the industry about present-day healthcare challenges.
Hey, welcome to the MedBix Webcast. This is Ramana Annam Raju. I'm the host. Thank you all so much, for joining us. I tell you that the success of this podcast belongs to everybody, the guests and the people who are audiences. Is really remarkable for me to, this is a blessing. Today I have my favorite guest is a cardiologist. He's joining from Vienna, Virginia. Yeah, I tell you, his background is such a super background. He kind of exuberant. He's he kind of does a persona that is a aura. He really exhibits. It's amazing. He talks the way he talks, and the way that some doctors have that profound influence on you. The reasons you can't tell, I can't tell. That is something that is still beyond science, in my view. So even though I love science and all those things, sometimes I'm veering into the very strange field today. I'm going to present a topic on that. But I'm going to talk. Dr. Vijay Jaligam is from joining Vienna, Virginia. He's a cardiologist. He has been he practiced in India. He saw all kinds of pathologies, and he learned quite a bit from his father, the wisdom of it. And then he came to the United States, and then he was in New Orleans. He was working with one of my acquaintance, Dr. Yogandar. I used to go to New Orleans, a lot of cardiology conferences in New Orleans. I used to go there and, attend a lot of ASIO meetings, American College of Cardiology, American Heart Association meetings there. Then he was in New Orleans that during the Katrina, during all these disaster times, he was there. He's the doctor there, taking the patients in the last minute in the Katrina times. It's dedication. You got to see that dedication to the patients that he serves. He was an academic physician. Then he went into completely turned around 180 degrees. He went into the corporate world. I let him tell you the name. But this is one of the largest primary care centers in headquarters in Miami, Florida, and then they are all over the country. And then he was running their cardiology division. The 40 cardiologists he's watching, supervising. He's traveling across. I don't know how he did that, but running around with the kids, and so he did a lot of these things. Let me bring you to the table, Dr. Vijay Jaligam, joining from Vienna, Virginia, cardiologist, super cardiologist. Welcome, sir. Welcome to the MedBix Webcast.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Ramana, for the kind introduction and your fantastic words. Thank you.
Dr. Jaligam, I wanted to ask you, this is your journey. It's such an interesting journey. You came from, in India, you started to practice in India, right? In Hyderabad. You must have seen a lot of pathologies in India. What did you learn in Indian pathology side? They're seeing patients in India. Then when you came to the New Orleans, then you became an academic side, went there. So what did you learn? What is the two different countries, entirely different world, different approach to the cardiology side. What did you learn from all these experiences back and forth these two countries?
Great question, Ramana. First is thanks to all the patients who gave me the opportunity to take care of them, during which I have learned a lot. And that's very humbling to me. And also the great teachers, both in India and United States. And in India, the thing is that you have limited resources, but a lot of opportunity for you to think outside the box, take care of the patients. In the United States, you have a lot of resources, but how do you tailor it to the population here who don't have access to care? So the two different problems. Over there, access to care is there, but resources are not available. Here we have all the resources, but access to care is a problem. But this gave me opportunity in two different worlds for me to grow in a humble way, and also deliver the best care. In this process, as you talked about, I grew up as a physician, a responsible citizen, a leader, a consultant, and also as a coach to my patients, to my colleagues and young citizens. So it's been a great journey for me, learning from best of the both worlds. And I'm trying my every effort in Vienna here, trying to provide that the world-class ultimate treatment options to patients, given the challenges here in Vienna.
Dr. Jaligam, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Dr. Jaligam, so you moved on to the United States. You saw this the journey in the United States of cardiology side of it. Sorry, that I'm still having a cough from the East Coast journey, from a West Coast, Washington DC journey. But I wanted to ask you, what inspired you to become a cardiologist? Actually, let me ask you that question. What I was talking about your father wisdom. What inspired you to become a cardiologist? Why cardiology was so interesting to you?
I would rather say, again, great question. I would rather say that it goes back to my mentor, Dr. Raja Durandar, who kind of inspired me to go into cardiology. He showed me the beauty of bedside cardiology and also the charm of how you treat a patient and give him the instant relief from death, mortality, morbidity. My original plan was to go into field of pulmonary critical care and do lung transplant, but I ended up doing heart transplant fellowship. But Dr. Durandar, Dr. Glancy was the other mentor in my life, and Dr. Frank Smart.
So you went through. I'm trying to bring myself here. Yeah, that's it. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to bring myself here. Yeah, Dr. Jaligam, that I met you, and I'm glad to know you. One of the things that I realized is that you took a different path than a regular traditional cardiology. First you went then you moved into the corporate world, 180 degrees that I was talking about it. Tell us that experience, and then does there any conflict it created for you doing the academic side and doing the corporate side?
Another great question, Ramana. In academic side, it quenches your hunger of trying to know things, trying to solve every problem which comes across, and also the opportunity to teach the young generation in participating in a lot of trials. That's the exciting part. And accidentally, me stumbling into corporate world gave me a vision of why is US healthcare so expensive? When I was in academics, that thought never came to my mind. The thought never came to my mind as why is heart disease number one in our country? So I had a bigger vision, like I was able to scale up to 30,000 feet, come down, understanding the US landscape, understanding the dynamics of healthcare access, understanding the dynamics of push and pull of insurances and patient outcomes. We have greatest technology. When it comes to academics, you want to do everything, but in corporate world, it's like, is it practically feasible? Is it cost effective? So the cost effectiveness is what I learned on the corporate side. On the academic side, you're in the pursuit of solution. Hey, what is this answer for this? It's more of microscopic. In corporate world, it's more of macroscopic.
So yeah, it is a, you have to marry those both the microscopic and macroscopic worlds. You did that very well, in fact. So then you jump into the completely. What really motivated you to take a different path of dealing with the patients? Cardiac disease is number one. Why is number one? First of all, to start with, is it our lifestyle? Is it our genetic problem? Or we brought it our results? The systemic problem itself is a lot of pressure from the system itself. What are the things are all maybe all about? Tell us a little bit about that. Why we see so much cardiac disease around the world, not just in the United States? What is the reason you think?
This is the question of the century. That's how I'll put it. And this is a great question, Ramana, what you asked. I always used to ponder, we know that this causes heart disease, that causes heart disease. In medical education, they teach you these are the reasons, genetic factors, family history, blah, blah, blah. But nobody tells you that, hey, you can reverse heart disease. If you catch it upstream early before having disastrous outcomes. And then I started to ask myself, like, how can one disease with greatest technology, what we have, be number one disease in our country, and around the world with different geographies, different ethnicities, different cuisines, different cultures? What is the common thread? How can all this textbook described causes are a common thread? No, it's not. The common thread is processed food. And what does that processed food have? Seed oils, which causes inflammation. Inflammation is the mother of all diseases, and that's what drives heart disease to be number one. If I tell my patients, the day you're born, you make cholesterol. Your liver makes 80% of cholesterol. If body is naturally making 80% of cholesterol, how can cholesterol be bad? Why is it got the bad press, bad label? But nobody wants to point out at the processed food or the things which are causing inflammation. I think that's the biggest missing piece, where the medical schools and all the huge organizations do not emphasize much. They all say lifestyle changes. Yeah, but you do exercise, you do everything, but you're still consuming the oils, you're consuming the processed food, the donuts, the sausages, the pepperoni. Then you're still going to have a heart attack, and with all the best medical care.
Dr. Jaligam, you practiced in South, right? In the southern United States. It's a lot of diseases there, a lot of pathology you see. I used to provide a doctor's cardiologist to the rural towns in South, in New Orleans, Louisiana, Georgia, Alabama, all the places. I used to place doctor cardiologists. One thing I noticed is that there is not much. One of the doctor from a hospital told me they don't have a nutritionist in for 10 years. So there is a systemic problem, as you said, that there is a fast food is only thing available to them. What they can do, why we can? There is a systemic problem. Do you see that a systemic problem there, where there is not accessible? In India, poorest people get the most organic food.
Yes.
I'm in a village. I used to eat the most organic food in the world. Poorest village we lived in. But why you think that?
I think we lost you, Ramana. If everyone is going to hear, I want to just take it from here. Ramana asked a great question. Poorest people in India eat most organic food, and they feel fine. Whereas it's total opposite in the United States. The people who live in food deserts get to eat fast foods. The irony is that they sell the dollar menu, but behind every dollar menu, you spend $200. So as Ramana pointed out, in India, poor people eat the most organic food. There are no fast food places over there, but total opposite in the United States. Again, it comes back to the same. My pet peeve is like even the fast food cooked in vegetable oils is leading to heart disease. Way back in 1950s, probably earlier at the time, they used to use lard to cook all kinds of fried food. But since vegetable oils came into the picture, the entire world has like heart disease became number one for the entire world.
So, Dr. Jaligam, I'm going to bring two other experts in this. One is actually good in, she's a doctor. She is a primary care doctor, and she's a young graduate from India. And her name is Kavana Sanjay is joining with us. And the other one is Ursula Lentini, very close friend of mine. She is a panic healer. She teaches yoga and meditation and all those things. So there's two people are joining. Let me ask them, let them ask some questions, better than me. So welcome all of you guys, and let me bring all of you guys, yeah. Hi, how are you guys?
Hi.
So tell us a little bit about your background, Ursula and Dr. Jaligam. Ursula is a friend of mine for a long time. What do you do, Ursula? Just give us a little bit background, and you can ask some question about the heart health. I can't hear you, Ursula.
How's this? Is better?
Yeah, now okay. Yeah.
Okay. Dr. Jaligam, thank you for coming on. So nice to have you. I've read about your profile. I am a doctorate in consciousness studies, which is the quantum physics, metaphysics, spiritual intersection. Thank you. So I understand Ramana and I go back and forth between science and spirituality, and then we unite in the quantum physics world. So I read about your profile there. So I'm going to ask, in your heart patient, is there a personality profile that you're noticing, and what kinds of changes happen after their surgeries in their personality?
That is a fantastic, provocative question. Nobody ever asked me so far. And if I deep dive on that, it starts with the mindset and the fear complex. Somebody going for bypass, right? Some people will get out of ICU in day 2, day 3, and come out. They are. There was one of the greatest chief ministers in Andhra Pradesh called N.T. Rama Rao. He was a movie star. He was a very dynamic guy. When he had a bypass, I think day 3, day 4, he was like walking out of the ICU. But I've seen other patients where they struggle, they linger, they cannot come out of it. As you said, with the personality comes the biochemical change in your body. In the spirit, like in yoga, they talk about your body has pancha koshas, 5 koshas, right? One is the food body, the different bodies. The way I understand from Eastern philosophy and Western medicine is like when all of those are in sync, your outcome is fantastic. When they are not in sync, you don't recover fast or the way you're projected to recover. This is something I learned. You need to understand this concept, Dr. Ursula, is like you need to have that background, which I'm sure I can connect with you. But wow, this question was the best question asked for me in a long time.
Thank you. Dr. Sanjay.
Hi. So just a small background about myself. My name is Kavana Sanjay. I'm a graduate medical doctor from India, and I currently live in California. And when Mr. Ramana introduced me to Dr. Jaligam, I was truly impressed with how deeply he integrates his holistic practices into modern medicine, and how he's bringing the best of both worlds from his experience in India to the US. And I wanted to ask you something in that aspect again. So yoga has been gaining a lot of popularity in the Western world over the last, say, decade or so. So I was wondering, now yoga does involve gentle movements and breath work and meditation. Is that as good as, say, cardiovascular aerobic exercises for heart health?
So nice to meet you, Dr. Sanjay. And that's a great question. Actually, this is another fantastic question. I've been practicing yoga all my life, and thanks to my parents who always kept on pushing us. And the way we were culturally raised, we used to do something called Surya Namaskar. And Surya Namaskar has 12 poses. And the way I was taught is like when you do Surya Namaskar, if you do 25 or 50 a day, you become bulletproof. And after that, there used to be pranayama, which is the breathing exercises. So if you combine both of those, as I said, both gentle and extreme exertion, I keep telling my patients, if you go on a treadmill, do 30 minutes, all you're doing is walking, 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 right? If you're doing stepper, all you're doing is stepper, stepper. Yeah, your heart is racing, but you're not massaging the other glands in the body, the other organs in the body. Whereas in yoga, when you do yoga from head to toe, you stretch every tendon, you stretch every muscle, you stretch every vascular system, you massage every gland, you massage all the organs. So for me, if I have to relieve blood pressure, I will tell my patients, cardio is important, but learn to do these things where your vascular system is going to be much more healthy, much more responsive. So for me, this is where I kind of educate and empower my patients, saying that, hey, I have done it. It works. A lot of patients come off of insulin. A lot of patients come off of blood pressure medications just by doing certain things. I've seen people even improve kidney function. If you go on a treadmill for 30 minutes, will you improve your kidney function? I haven't seen that.
Unlikely.
So people are fixated. And coming back to this great question, Dr. Sanjay, is like, yoga is catching up slowly. The research is catching up. I know Harvard, Duke, and other places, they're also looking at mind, body, the impacts on it. What I tell everyone is like, yoga impacts you at mental level, physical level, chemical level, glandular level, skeletal level, at every level. This is like a complete package, a silver bullet for your diseases to get cured.
That was a very nice answer. So it basically takes into consideration both mental, physical, emotional health, everything, and it helps target all of it together. So, well, like speaking of emotions, emotional health, um, I have heard of a phenomenon called the Takotsubo cardiomyopathy, and people say that there's a direct link between heartbreak, like the emotional toll that grief has or loss has on heart. So, could you shed some more light on that?
Oh, this is another fantastic question. But for the audience, what Dr. Sanjay is asking, like, it's also known as broken heart syndrome or apical ballooning of the heart, or Takotsubo is like a vase where Japanese is used to catch octopus, and the way the shape of the vase represent, that's how the heart kind of enlarges. So, but now it has got different names. And even for the audience, especially for the Indian audience, you might have seen old movies where somebody comes and breaks a sad news to the mom or dad or somebody, and in the movie, the mother or father listens, and boom, they pass away and they're dead. Is that really possible? Yes, it's absolutely possible. That's exactly what Dr. Sanjay is asking. So what happens is, emotions, again, is all to deal with emotions. Everyone has different capacity to deal with their stress emotions, whether it is a loss of a child, loss of a spouse, loss of a lover, loss of a family member, anything. You go under a peak stress where your sympathetic level is on the overdrive. So you have receptors on the body everywhere. And even in the heart, in that area, you will have sympathetic receptors which get hyperactivated when this sudden burst of sadness prevails and the emotion flies in. The heart suddenly enlarges. They don't have blockages in the blood vessels of the heart. The heart suddenly enlarges, goes into a heart failure mode where it doesn't pump. Normal hearts pumps 55 to 60% to maintain the blood pressure. So the heart pump function drops to 20% and they go into a shock. Most of the people recover, more than 50% of people recover within 48 hours, but some don't and some die. So it has been well known in our old movies or what storytelling in the countryside, and scientifically it's been proven that it is directly related to the emotion. So this is where, again, I'll come back to the previous question, like when you practice yoga, especially the pranayama, the 5 types of breathing, you manage your sympathetic drive. You know how to calm down when you're stressed out. You know how to calm down when you're angry. So this pranayama is a beautiful, beautiful part of yoga. Not many people practice it. But that is something I offer to my patients as cognitive behavioral therapy, whether it is ADHD, whether it's anxiety, whether it is stress-related, emotional stuff. And I just show them the breathing techniques. They follow. It helps the blood pressure. It helps to manage the emotion. And again, it's all up to with the chemicals, right? The sympathetic epinephrine, norepinephrine, all those things. Once you know how to balance it, you can manage it well. But again, it's a great question. It's called broken heart syndrome. Very good question.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for shedding light
Yeah.
on that.
So I wanted to, that is a beautiful, beautiful way of telling how the heart rhythms are connected to psychological, emotional, skeletal. He's talking about all of those things connected all together. The universe has some connection there. Something spirituality is a probing. Very few scientists talk about spirituality. Dr. Jaligam is one of them. But there was a scientist, there was a mathematician who did talk about those kind of things. I'm going to talk about them when I come back. We'll ask Dr. Jaligam some more questions about his idea of that how that yoga and meditation and Ursula Lentini practices it. These kind of things, how he helps patients, we can ask. But this is really probing the mind of a God and see what that connection between the heart rhythms and the psychology, the physical health. That is the one thing I'm going to talk about it. So bear with me. I'm going to. His name is. I want to tell you something about. That's a Dr. Jaligam. He has a huge credentials. City of Faiths. People don't know this city. Even I was surprised to learn to know about this city called Haifa, Israel. In Haifa is actually city of faiths. There's so many religions in the Haifa. It's a city in Israel, second or third largest city in Israel. There is a big presence of all the faiths. One of the faiths is a Baha'i temple. Baha'i temple is they believe in all the unity of all the religions. So there's a Christianity is very high presence in Christianity in Haifa. There is a Islam. There's a lot of Arab people that they go to mosque. They go to the same temple. Actually, there is some same places. There's a lot of synagogues. There are a lot of mosques there, and also there is a Jewish temple, of course. There is another religion, very interesting. I come to know about it. Druze religion. It is offshoot of some kind of Islam, but the Muslim people did not like them. They kicked them out from most of the Islamic countries. These Druze religion is a very interesting religion. It is they believe in reincarnation. They believe in cosmos. All the 5 stars similar to the star. They represent the universal facts, universe nature of the universe. The Druze religion. So all the faiths are the city of faiths, Haifa, Israel, as all the religions, very interestingly. Actually, in the Baha'i faith, they talked about a little bit about Lord Krishna and Buddha also. But you don't see Buddhist temple or Lord Krishna temple. But they did one thing extraordinary for this city. That's a right fitting to the city. What they did was they installed a machine called Ramanujan machine, an artificial intelligence machine 2021. It is a platform, it's an artificial engine platform. Is named after Hindu mathematician Srinivasa Ramanujan. This university is called one of the very famous university, very largest university in the technical institute, Technion, Israeli Institute of Technology. That is listed. This Ramanujan mission was initiated in 2021, right after the pandemic. This machine, what it does, that machine is special about it? I want to tell you that something about that machine, artificial intelligence. If you have a computer program, AI algorithmic procedures, if you have a computer, if you want a QuickBooks, you can put the data and then it produces the financial data for you at the end. That is a normal computer, what the computers do. That is everything. That's what we use computers for. In algorithm, we use algorithm to produce the data for us, and then we work on it. But any guys, you can join anytime you want to do. But there is other way around. There is an AI machine. Look at the data and create an algorithm like QuickBooks. Other way around. Ask the question: is there any machine that can see the data, just data, and then create an algorithm itself? It's the other way around. It's one of the most impossible things. But what the Ramanujan did, that is another question. I'm going to put it a different way. Newton discovered apple, the laws of gravity through the apple falling from the apple tree. But is the AI machine can look at the falling apple and can come back with the equations on the right side? That is an amazing. That is what the Ramanujan machine is looking for the nature, laws of nature, hidden mind of the God, hidden mind of the hidden laws of the nature. He is looking at the Ramanujan machine was in the eye for Israel that it did. But that is, in fact, there are also some mysterious constants in mathematics. You can find it. That's a pi, for example. Heart rhythms, Dr. Jaligam is talking about heart rhythms, circadian rhythms, breathing cycles, heart rhythms. They're all connected with a constant called pi. 22 by over 7, 3.14, blah, 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 blah. It's got a lot of numbers there, 3.14. So this constant pi appears everywhere in the universe. We don't know why. It appears in our biology. It appears in the universe. It appears in a lot of places. That is a mysterious constant. Why? Who put that constants there? So there's a golden ratio. It's called Fibonacci sequence. It came out of the Fibonacci sequence. Golden ratio is a BT defined. The Leonardo da Vinci, the bilateral symmetry that about the body itself came from a golden ratio. This is also appears all over the beauty, in the flowers, in the biology, in the fingers with has. It is also follow the golden ratio. These are the constants just pop up nowhere. People didn't understand where this is coming from, what laws, who is designing these constants. Then came in, there is a boy who said that, boy who loved equations. His name is Srinivasa Ramanujan. He was born in 1887. He said that an equation means nothing to me unless it expresses a thought of God. All these constants are thoughts of God. That's what he said. Everybody, if he is born in Tamil Nadu, India, is a Hindu temple, he was born in the temples, in the middle of the temples. He went to England, and then he was invited to he was producing mathematical equations in a mad way. It is just a mind-blowing equations he's writing. Mystic equations, 1 + 2 + 3 all the way to the infinity. It is actually not infinity, -1/12, something. just stunned the the mathematical community. He was invited to the England to study in the Trinity College. But you know what? That Ramanujan was this. They asked him, "How did you come to these equations?" This is Hardy. His name is Hardy. That is a supervisor. They asked him, "How did you come? How did you arrive these equations?" They asked him. These are mind-blowing equations. Oh, he said that goddess gave it to me in the dreams. So what goddess? These are Western mathematicians. They don't understand all these things. He said that I have a god. His name Namagiri. I have a photo. They said that never mind. Sorry, we asked you, and then they retired. They don't ask anymore. But if anyone says that, it would have been dismissed in the medical, in the mathematical and scientific field. But I want to tell you what these people said about him, the Srinivasa Ramanujan. I'm going to tell you what they said. Michio Kaku is one of the famous scientists here, says Srinivasa Ramanujan was the strangest man in all of mathematics, probably the entire history of science. He has been compared to the bursting supernovae, illuminating the darkest, most profound corners of the mathematics. That's Ramanujan, the Freeman Dyson. Ramanujan had some sort of magic tricks that we don't understand, says late Freeman Dyson of the Institute for Advanced Study from Princeton University, where the Albert Einstein was at the head of the department at the time. He was the head of the department, the same department as Albert Einstein was. Mark Zuckerberg said that with a partial math book, he did the entire modern mathematics and moved the field forward. Just think if he had access to the internet. That's what he said. That's exactly what is happening. That they give access to the internet, the Ramanujan machine. Ken Uno, professor of mathematics at Emory University in Atlanta, who studied the Ramanujan papers in detail, says Ramanujan's work in mathematics is the epitome of intuition for a brief window of time. 5 years, he lit the world of math on fire. J.H. Hardy, his supervisor, said that Ramanujan, the most satisfying thing in my life was, he's a supervisor, his boss is telling, the most satisfying thing in my life was meeting my student Ramanujan. That what these people said about him. Stephen Wolfram is a mathematical they wrote a glowing tributes about this man. So what he said is about the God, you cannot, that is not easily dismissible what he said. He wrote the equations. That's not even, he's in 1820, he was born in 1888 AD. Was born. He wrote the equations out of this world. String theory. That's not even born string theory. He wrote the equations for string theory. He wrote for the medicine. All the microorganisms, viruses. How do you deal with a large number of viruses? String theory, then is a black holes. Black hole was not even there. Just 1920, he died in 1920. Just Einstein published black hole physics. He wrote the equations already. He did that. ATM machine that you go, partitions, you use a Ramanujan, some Ramanujans mathematics we use to distribute the cash. All these things it just came out of his no mind. In EEG, for example, Ramanujan signal processing, EEG, epilepsy, these signals are so hard to find, these epilepsy kind of things, the cells that cause epilepsy. But he can do a lot with his EEGs. He extracted the patterns out of it and find where exactly those cells are causing the epilepsy. HRV, heart rate variability. Dr. Jaligam does that, all these things. That's mathematics. Is so much mathematics because heart produces a lot of data. So they need to use Ramanujan mathematics they use in HRVs indirectly and directly also. This man came from, we don't know, quantum computers. Died in 1920. Remember that. Even the quantum was not even born. He wrote the equations for the quantum computers. Right now, his equations are being used in error correction, quantum communications. They're using his equations. So he said that Nature AI Ramanujan machine in Haifa, Israel, producing mind-blowing kind of things. is probing the mind of God. What are the laws involved? Why God put these constants in us? Why this phi and pi and e and all those things, constants came in. Nature, one of the most prestigious publications, is giving even hardly 2 years, and then it's producing one of the best results, and one of the prestigious publication mentioned about what these things that Ramanujan machine is doing, because the digital twin of the Ramanujan machine they created there. So he was probing the mind of God. What are the laws that God? Who gave those laws? Which God gave these laws? So he is trying to probe the mind of a God. He said that there is no equation without the expression of God. While Ramanujan equations are probing the God, all these famous scientists, scientists probing the God. Miranda Chang from University of Paris, she is working on the Ramanujan mathematics. The Manjul Bhargava, I met him actually in Princeton University. He is a very, very well-known. He won the Field Medal in Nobel Prize. He won the equivalent to Nobel Prize in mathematics. Manjul Bhargava, he is working on the Ramanujan number theory. Then, Shamit Kachru is from Stanford, right here, friend of mine. He is working in that. And then Haifa, Israel, Yudo Kaminar is working on the Ramanujan machine. All these millions of people, millions of dollars working on one of the top minds in the world, trying to understand the mind of Ramanujan. They're not trying to understand their God. They're trying to understand him. How he came up with the equations. Miranda Chang says that I have no idea how he came up with this idea. He wrote all these equations with the lamp that you see there and the slate up there. He produced the state-of-the-art technology, the equations that mind-blowing to the world. So it is a thank you for watching. Let me bring all these people. So I wanted to shed a light on. He died at the very young age, 32 years old. He came back from England, and 32 he died. Very poor. He was not even rich. He said that he gave $5,000, something that somebody gave it to him. He gave that money to his wife. That his wife lived until recently, in 2000. Even she lived there. She lived in Madras, Chennai. He lived in a village. He lived in a place that there is no running water, no electricity. He wrote these equations on a slate, chalk slate. Think about what incredible mind of Ramanujan is really producing these greatest minds on the world, working on his theories, on his equations. Thank you for watching. Let me bring my friends back here. Hello, sir. What do you think?
That's a very great insight, and you eloquently put it for the audience, the beauty of the science and the pi and these constants. You said it right. Both micro and macroscopically, everything has a constant. Everything has that's revolving thing, and same thing what Dr. Ursula said about that. And even coming back to question of Dr. Sanjay too, they all tie in together. Only if you can understand it, see it, feel it, perceive it. You can just brush it off, or you can take a deep dive and really take it to the next level.
Yeah. What Ursula, you have anything to say that particularly what that connection is? And amazing.
Yeah, that Fibonacci spiral. I saw a small reel about the heart is actually a spiral.
Yes.
Can you talk about that, and then talk about what you feel is the meaning of why a heart should be a spiral?
That's another beautiful question. So until recently, like when technology kept on evolving, they looked at the way normally the heart doesn't beat like this. The heart goes in, it spins in a clock and anti-clockwise direction, and also it compresses. That's how it pushes the blood into the body. So if you take the heart muscles out, it comes as a spiral out. There's circular fibers, longitudinal fibers, oblique fibers. So it is just like you're trying to take water out of a cloth when you wring it. Similar, that's what I used to tease my students whenever I used to teach. There is a vortex. the blood, the way it flows through the valves and comes out, and because it has to be propelled through all the arteries all the way to the toe when the heart squeezes. So it's a beautiful science, beautiful hemodynamics. Again, as Dr. Ursula pointed out, there is this mathematical constant in there, because when that is gone, lost, then you go into congestive heart failure. Your heart starts to burn out, the muscles start to fail, and you don't get back to normal. So that's a beautiful,
Yeah, man.
lot of
Amazing.
beautiful questions in this podcast.
Beautiful answer, Dr. Jaligam. That's a really well said, that well explained. That is a really, yeah. Ursula, that people stay away from the religion, they stay away from the spirituality. But when more and more we study, more and more there's a symbiotic. Dr. Jaligam is practicing yoga and meditation, and you teach yoga and meditation. All these merging in one place, that we're not separate from each other. We are all one and the same. What that message is actually resonate to you?
Oh, thank you. The imbalance, just like in a heartbeat, right? Constriction, expansion, constriction, expansion. We're in the age of Aquarius, 2,000-year cycle. Piscean finished, and then age of Aquarius expanding. Everything that was not working, power over, patriarchism, control, division. That is the problem that we've been experiencing across the board. So many division, and now it's going to be a time for unification. So we're just moving in a cycle. It's a slow, long cycle, and we've forgotten who we are, and now it's time for us to remember again who we are. And Dr. Jaligam, you know who we are because you are integrating all the levels. Yeah. And when we can integrate all of us individually, then we can be able to see each other as whole beings and not somebody separate from me. Because if I divide my emotions to my logic, I'm not going to be a functioning person. But if I combine them, I can function. And Ramana, when I see you as a scientist and I see me as a spiritualist, and that causes a separation, we're going to argue. But if I see you as a spiritualist and you see me as a scientist, now we're going to have a conversation. So I think our curiosity of how can we connect with people different than me? How can we connect with ideas that I don't understand yet? How can we become curious as to where is the connection instead of defining the difference? I think we will all get along better.
You said that who we are. Well, that's very profound. Yeah. So, Dr. Jaligam, you can comment on it.
No, like Dr. Ursula said, I mean, this whole podcast, what you're doing, Ramana, bringing these minds together, these thoughts together, these concepts together, so people to understand. I've been blown away when I first started watching your podcast, like the way you think, the quantum guy, you are the different form of Ramanujan for me. You're bringing, no, like, I mean, I did not know about this machine in Israel. You bring a platform of knowledge and provocative thoughts, people to become audience, to become inquisitive, to learn more and to understand more and come close to the nature. You can't live a mechanical life. That'll take you only to so much. But if you want to have a wholesome life, and you need to bring that balance of science and spirituality, that wholesomeness together.
Dr. Jaligam, a lot of people feel a lot of stress in life. They think this is not in their hands. They think system is pressuring them. So, how much that play a role as a patient, and then how do you solve that problem? It's impossible to solve the systemic problem, but the solution could be coming from within you. So, how do you tap that? How do you tap that kind of solutions for people?
That is a great question, Ramana. So if I go back to my great gurus who taught me, 99% of the problems are in our own head. 1% is outside, external. So if you look at the stress coming from external, if you know how to react, if you go to a jungle, look at a lion or a snake or hunter versus the hunted. It's the action and reaction, right? Let's say the deer is not running. The cheetah doesn't have the instinct to hunt. It will pause and think, oh, what's happening? Why is the deer not running? Right? Like before even the chase starts. Similarly, in human beings too, if somebody said something to you, react right off the bat and you go off the cliff. But if you hold your thought and not react, that's what is stress management, right? All the CEOs, executives who all the big leaders in the country, if you look at all the able leaders, it's the reaction. How can you hold your poise, your balance when extreme situations hit you? It can be any form of stress. So the stress management is the key for me to the question which you asked.
That's a lot of people are going through a lot of pressures now. That is a world is changing. We need a more cardiologists like you and more holistic doctors like you. I think it can give us a piece of that, give us the right direction, because system is not helping. System is getting us, throwing into the more chaotic situation. So doctors are the only saviors. We cannot replace the AI machine. AI machine is the just a vehicle, but it is not going to replace a doctor. Is understand that mind of God. That's the only person that can come close to the other mind, not some machine. So it's my view. So let us talk about that a little bit, Doctor. When you teach, when you are a long time practitioner of yoga and meditation, Dr. Jaligam, I want to ask you what did you bring inside of you when you do practice these kind of things?
It is self-realization, Ramana. Again, that's a great question. It's like all the great people in any religion, if you look at saints or any elevated person, you see there has to be an aha moment, whether it's science or spiritual. You have to have an aha moment. You have to think about, am I going in a rabbit hole to an abyss? That's how I look at most of the science and most of the silo functionality across the healthcare in the United States, whether it's research. Somebody is finding something. How is it applicable to the common society? There has to be some correlation. So for me, I had multiple aha moments. I had great spiritual leader mentors who made me pause and think, right? I recently went to Sadhguru's, one of my guru in Tennessee. He had a program called Bhava Spandana, which means when there is an emotion, do you perceive the emotion? Do you feel the emotion? Or do you understand the emotion? It was almost a 5-day program, and it completely changed my thought process. Whether it is an ant, whether it is a human being, whether it is my pet dog, my family member, anyone, when anyone has a burst of emotion, you can't become a part of emotion. You have to pause, think, understand before you react. And the other example is, right, people eat food. When food is in front of you, how many people really enjoy the smell of it? Enjoy every bite of the food rather than just gulping it down, right? And same thing, whether you're trying to walk outside in the snow or on the ground, or you're holding a flower in your hand, you need to perceive it, right? That emotion part. So you have to perceive it. Those are the things which I think every kid in this country and the world, every doctor has to understand. Like if a patient comes to me with whatever complaint, I kind of pause and look at them, not just with the lens of a physician, but as a human being. Like, okay, he's stuck in this situation, in this health condition. What are the other avenues I can pull him out, right? If somebody comes with a blood pressure, just giving him a blood pressure pill is the standard of care, which I don't practice. I would rather say, okay, what's the root cause for this? Is it an emotional stress, or is it a poor diet, or is it lack of exercise, or is it lack of understanding of how to take care of his health? That's the way you have to go, whether it's an emotion, whether it is healthcare perspective, whether it's stress management. So again, coming back to your question, it's like I was lucky enough to have those pauses. I learned bits and pieces. People give knowledge in form of pearls. If you realize it, you will catch it. If you don't realize it, it's gone. So I think with all the great mentors and seers and saints, I was able to latch on to that. And you have to nurture and nourish that thing of emotion. If not, you become a very constipated life.
Well, the Valentine's Day is coming up. This is February, hot month of hot. So, Kavana, you have anything comments to say about it? You have any final comments?
Well, I actually wanted to thank Dr. Jaligam for giving me a very, it's a new approach. Everything that was discussed today, it's not something that I often come across people talking about. I really like how you integrated spiritual, mental, and emotional well-being while to be able to take care of our physical health, because everything is codependent on each other. You brought in all of the realms, if that's the right word. And I really appreciate that approach towards it, because it's something that I also truly believe in, and I feel like it's not spoken about as much. And bringing awareness towards this is something that you're doing at the moment, and I really appreciate that. And as for Dr. Ursula, your questions today, they were really nice, especially when you were talking about how the heart is also connected in the spiral. That was a very different approach, something that I was not aware of. And
Yes.
the entire
I
session
didn't
as
know
a
that.
whole was,
You explained very well.
yes, the entire session today was very informative. In the kind of fast-paced world that we're living in right now, we do forget to, stop, take a moment, and be grateful for everything that we have around us. It's like the saying goes, "Stop to smell the roses." We need to start doing that more. Be a little more appreciative of that, and it actually helps us get down to the grassroots level and can also improve life on a day-to-day basis.
Thank you, Sir Kavana. Thank you so much. Dr. Jaligam, you are a treasure to our podcast. You are such an asset. I'm fortunate to know you. I honestly tell you, your brother, your friend. A doctor should be a brother, friend, physician, mentor, guru. All of them, you're combined. You're a personification of all that. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining the podcast. Thank you, Ursula. Thank you, Kavana. You're all. Thank you, Dr. Jaligam. If you want to say one final word, just you got 30 seconds. We say that.
Life is beautiful. Enjoy it.
Thank you all. You can stay that after the podcast. We can talk together. Just don't give me. Bye. Good night, all of you guys. Good night.
We are retelling their stories through our patented designs that can be worn on scrubs, t-shirts, printed on conference bags, and endless other promotional materials. Daily Wear for Medicine is the first ever of its kind to create curiosity in medicine through visual art. We at MedBricks are celebrating unsung heroes of the past who made enormous contributions to the field of medicine through our unique campaign called Daily Wear for Medicine. You can wear it, carry it, and give it